I have seen this over and over on online guitar forums where there are absolute beginners or people who've played for a little while and they're not getting any better. And they ask, hey, what book should I get in order to learn and get better at guitar? Sometimes they're more specific and they ask for books that have a clear curriculum that will take them step by step to getting better at guitar. It's as if that they'll just read the book and then suddenly, now I get it. Now I'll be able to play better than ever. In this video, I'm going to show you that reading in and of itself is not a way to build a skill like playing guitar. So let's dive in. Now, reading about something you're actually interested in, it stimulates the brain to release dopamine, and you get this rewarding sense of accomplishment. But there is a difference between theoretical knowledge, which you get from books and online forum commenters, and the craft. Craft is that practical ability to do the work, or in short, practicing. And finally, there is practical wisdom, which is the ability, in this case, to pick up your guitar, play what you want to play it well and with confidence. Now, no one ever picks up the guitar and says that their goal is to play like crap. No, everyone picks up the guitar because their goal is to play the songs they want, the music they want, and to play it well. You know, your goal may not be to play like the best of the best. That's absolutely fine and understandable, but I know that the reason you picked up guitar is because you have a goal of being able to pick it up, make the music you want, and to play it well. But you can't skip the practicing. And not just practicing what the book tells you or what other people tell you, the practicing needs to include correction. This means that you do the thing wrong, you immediately identify it, and then adjust to correct it. Because if you don't do the correction, then it's just repetition, and repetition is just repetition. And in most cases, all that's doing is instilling bad habits in your body and in your playing, which of course leads to poor playing. The only way to improve and to be able to play well is through lots of corrected practice, more corrected practice than reading. You see, the book can never tell you when you've done something wrong. And when you do something wrong, the book can never tell you, oh, here's how you adjust and correct it to fix it. Someone has to show you when you've done something wrong, like a teacher, a good teacher, and then show you, here's how you adjust and fix that problem. Or maybe if by some miracle you have a natural intuition when something isn't right, and immediately go ahead and go about adjusting to go fix it. That's not me, by the way. I don't have that natural intuition. Look, reading a book about guitar followed by mindless repetition doesn't build anything. You have to practice at the edge of your ability where you're correcting things. You cannot solely read your way to playing well, nor can you go through online comments in order to be able to play well. That's not the way through. By the way, not everyone likes to read, but that certainly is a different topic. And remember that reading translates to this rewarding sense of accomplishment, but that doesn't automatically translate to playing well. Now, does this mean that you shouldn't read books and books are no help at all? No, of course not. There are some really good books out there like Chord Chemistry from Ted Green, which will teach you a lot about the makeup of chords. And it's a book I highly, highly recommend. Books essentially just transfer knowledge from one person to the other. Unfortunately, you can never get a private lesson from Ted Green because he passed away a few years ago. But you can get his knowledge by reading that book, Chord Chemistry, for example. Where a book like Chord Chemistry can be helpful is if you have a knowledge of a handful of chords, you can play some songs, you're able to do it through through corrected practice that the chords sound pretty decent. You can play a few songs, and then you go to chord chemistry and you learn a few more chords and how they're made up. And then you go to that corrected practice and you practice more. You play more songs with some of these chords that you just learned. And then you get better at that through corrected practice. And then you go back to the book. It's kind of like kindling. You gather that kindling and then go back to the corrected practice. And it's like you add to the flame as it gets bigger and bigger. And by doing this corrected practice, you're instilling even more music into your body and in your hands. Remember, no one picks up the guitar with the goal to play like crap. Everyone who picks up the guitar picks it up with the goal to play the music they want and to play it with confidence and to play it well. So if you want to be able to pick up the guitar and just be able to play music well, it doesn't come from just sitting down and reading a book about guitar. Because no matter what, you still have to go through that struggle with the instrument and spend a lot of time with that corrected practice. There's no shortcut. You can't replace this deliberate practice through books or online guitar forums. In fact, just reading a book or going through online comments, I would say that fails as practice. And also remember that many of the well-known guitar players, at least I've never seen one interview from any of the greats that say, well, once I read this book, I was a great guitar player. I don't know any of them that got great just because they read a book. They may have read a book along the way and some books, and they may recommend some good ones, but ultimately, it's the enormous amount of time they put into this corrected practice in order to get better. I'm imagining someone like B.B. King or Albert King or Eric Clapton, Jimi Hendrix going, you know what made me so great? I read this book and then suddenly that's how I came to be who I am. Again, I want to remind you that books are fine. Books aren't a problem. The problem is thinking that's all you need. All right, you guys, I hope you found this helpful. If you want someone to show you how to do corrected practice in order to get the results and be on that pathway to playing well, hey, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, you guys, and I'll see you next time.